afternoon to you. This afternoon, England playing Russia in Tbilisi. It's the last but one international before Bobby Robson's men go into those World Cup finals in Mexico, now only some 9 weeks away. So it's certainly an important yardstick for England, now facing the Russian side that's also qualified for the finals. And here they come just onto the pitch now. Watching it with us today, though, two former England captains, Kevin Keegan and Mike Shannon. I must say we'd also hope to have the current England captain, Brian Robson, with us as well. Bad news for us. But good news for Manchester United England is that Brian certainly feels fit enough after his shoulder injury to be playing a reserve match for United tonight. And let's hope that's the start of an injury-free run through to Mexico for our skipper. Well, as you can see, the pictures are through from Georgia in the southernmost part of the USSR between the Black Sea and the Caspian Sea. Let me give you the team news straight away. For England, no Mark Hateley, no Tony Woodcock, both injured. The two front runners, Gary Lineker, himself carrying a bit of an injury, and Newcastle's Peter Beardsley. Most speculation seemed to favour Steve Hodge of Aston Villa in the midfield in the absence of Brian Robson, but it's Gordon Cowans who comes into that midfield now. Ray Wilkins is the skipper. While the Russian team, 6 survivors from the side that won so well and so convincingly at Wembley 2-0 2 years ago, including Gotsmanov, who scored one of the goals that day. Oleg Blokhin, one of the great names of Russian football, would have been winning his 99th cap in this game, but he is just a substitute. So the national anthem, and now the Russian anthem. A quick word from Kevin Keegan. I know you're looking very much to seeing Peter Beardsley, your ex-Newcastle teammate, playing up front for England.
Yeah, obviously it's lovely for me because if you go back 2 years, the England forward line is, if you put me in place of Gary Lineker, it'd be the Newcastle side.
Probably Chris Waddle as well.
That's right. No one's more delighted me for Peter Beardsley. He was very unlucky to have to make his debut in Egypt. Difficult game. Everyone expected him to score. I think tonight's a great, this afternoon's a great stage for him, really, to seal a place, not just in the England squad, but in the England side. He is that good. He's good enough to do that.
And Waddle?
Well,
I mean, people are talking about should it be Waddle, should it be Barnes, should it be a winger at all?
I've read this. Sir Alf Ramsey says that it should be Barnes, and that Barnes has had his opportunities, and he's done average. You can't say he's set the place on fire. Chris Waddle, for me, when he's played, has always shown a little bit more, and I think he's there on merit. Obviously, as a winger, you've always got to keep proving people because it's so easy to change a system and leave you out, as Sir Alf Ramsey did in '66. So I'm delighted for them both. I think, and of course, they understand playing together. And with someone like Gary Lineker, who's only half fit, that means he's about twice the speed of sound instead of 3 times. They've got a great forward line. I'm looking forward to seeing them play together. I
think Mike Shannon, most people regard Brian Robson as irreplaceable, probably. I mean, Gordon Cowans has got the job now coming into the midfield. I mean, how do you see, for example, the midfield today?
Well, I think that it's probably a weak England midfield, but it's a great opportunity for everyone. Obviously, we're going to miss Brian Robson. I mean, he's a world-class player, and I think we miss Peter Reid as well. But Ray Wilkins, who's not my favourite player, is playing again, and it's good to see that Cowans has got an opportunity after breaking his leg a couple of times. He's a good player, I mean, and let's hope it comes right for him today. It's a great opportunity for the back four as well to establish himself. These games are important now.
Yeah, Bobby Robson's saying he's looking for more pace from his central defenders.
Yeah, well, that's right. I think that, I mean, you've either got pace or you haven't. I mean, and I think that probably that is our biggest weakness, our back four. And I think that Butcher looked to be struggling. You know, I mean, I think he's probably our best defender, but he looked to be struggling. He's had a bad cartilage operation, and he's obviously not over his injury yet, and it's going to take him a little while to get back. But he should be back in time for the World Cup, and let's hope Mark Wright can fit in. I always think that Mark Wright's a bit of a softie. That's my honest opinion of him. And I mean, he's good and comfortable on the ball, but he's not someone who's positive enough for me. He doesn't close people down and push people around, and he's not quite positive enough. And that's my only criticism of him.
But I mean, we're getting to the time now, surely, where these sort of things have got to be sorted out. I mean, as I say, we're 9 weeks away from hoping to set the world on fire in Mexico.
I think Bobby Robson tonight's got, or this afternoon, I keep saying tonight, but this afternoon's got the chance. You know, he's looking for a little bit of help from somewhere, because we haven't got a settled side, and the World Cup is 9 weeks away. And in tonight's team, he's got Cowans, who's got... All right, he may be without Robson. We all hope he won't be. He's got to look for an alternative. There is no direct replacement for a player of Brian Robson's class. So, you know, we haven't got a direct replacement, so you can't find one. And obviously, as I said, with Beardsley and Waddle, he's got the chance there to get other players staking the chance at this late stage.
Right, at this late stage, then let's go across and join our commentary team in Tbilisi. Just starting there, David Pleat, the manager of Luton, and Martin Tyler.
Thank you, Brian, and welcome to Tbilisi. The local time here is just 8 o'clock in the evening, 4 hours ahead of you. And it is a match which stands in its own right as a genuine international contest, but has also to be assessed, as you've been saying in the studio, as part of the team-building process for Mexico, and that does apply to both nations here. Chivadze. England bringing into this game a 7-match unbeaten run, while the Soviet Union, defending the goal to the left in the first half, have a home record of extraordinary invincibility. They've won their last 18 major internationals in this vast country, and in those 18 games, the Soviets have not conceded a single goal. Would you believe it? So quite a task for England here, and here's Gordon Cowans wearing the number 7 shirt vacated by Brian Robson. A touch from Kondratiev. It's likely that the Soviet team will play with just 2 men forward, the number 10 Kondratiev and the number 11 Rodionov. England have gone solidly for a 4-3-3 plan, staying with the services of Chris Waddle as a wide player, even though Gary Lineker and Peter Beardsley do lack height for any crosses that Waddle might play in. Demyanenko. Zavarov. It was Beardsley who went in firmly for England. Glenn Hoddle. It's an important night for Mark Wright. But behind him, of course, he has his club teammate Peter Shilton, and Bobby Robson concerned about the lack of preparation again for his England side. He could only name the team at lunchtime today. And Ray Wilkins arriving here from Italy early yesterday afternoon, along with Gordon Cowans and the injured Mark Hateley, though that was a surprise to all concerned here. It's a good crowd in this stadium that holds some 75,000, but they're treating the match with great respect so far. And it's rather eerie, the quietness. Chivadze, the local player, the sweeper for Demyanenko. And a chance for the first thoughts from the Luton Town manager, David Pleat, alongside me.
Well, early on, the Russians will just bide their time and be patient. Chivadze is playing deeper behind any of the other defenders, and Beardsley, Waddle and Lineker are all being marked closely tight.
Peter Beardsley jumping for England. Bubnov, the big number 5, who was probably selected to look after Hateley. Foul by Glenn Hoddle. Viv Anderson getting another chance because of the injury to Everton's Gary Stevens. Cowans. Back from Ray Wilkins, and Chris Waddle has to justify the role of the winger, really, with the time ticking away towards Mexico. Bobby Robson has said that he wants to play his first choice lineup against Scotland at Wembley on April the 23rd. Bessanov with a back pass. Much of the early sparring that is typical, really, of international football. The tempo so different from English First Division play. Zavarov. Here's Bessanov. To throw himself to the ground, and it didn't fool the Bulgarian referee, Belichko Sonchev. Bobby Robson really looking for three things, he felt here. Pace in England's defending. Who can fill in when Brian Robson can't play? And to justify, as I was saying a moment or two ago, the role of the winger. And Chris Waddle finding himself in a central position. Sent long by Butcher, and Dasaev has come a long way under pressure from Waddle. Bessanov. Given away by Alenikov, who wins it back. And Zavarov darting from midfield. Viv Anderson had to come across on the cover and did so effectively. Wilkins. A lot of the service to the front player has to be in now to their feet, as Lineker received it then. Bessanov. Run back by Cowans. Now Wilkins. Beardsley, who had 35 minutes against Egypt and a full game against Israel. And he goes into this match tonight knowing really he's got to show his World Cup pedigree. On the left of the picture there, Eduard Malofeyev, the Soviet coach. And England have the corner. They've had little opportunity really to rehearse their set plays. Just one training session this morning with the full team available. Mark Wright looking to flick it on at the near post. Butcher jumping. Cowans. Wilkins, who'd taken the corner, and checked back to stay onside. Butcher is the target. It's a nice ball by Hoddle. Waddle's cross. Butcher. And now Beardsley. And it was a shot from Cowans that was blocked. But potential here for a break by the Soviet Union. But the pass over hit by Zavarov. Georgi Kondratiev, the furthest forward. And one remembers that England conceded a goal from their own corner in the early stages against Israel. Just a slight concern that they might be caught the same way then. Kuznetsov starting an international for the first time. Bessanov losing out to Cowans. Safely back by Ken Sanson. David, who's looked very energetic and spry in training here.
Yeah, he's a bubbly character, Kenny Sampson, and he's been full of beans. And I think he'll have an important part to play, because if we do struggle to get the balls down the channels with their sweeper covering the spaces, Sansom and Anderson might be able to join in from behind.
Well, Waddle having done well to win the ball. Lost out to Kuznetsov. Chivadze, the only player from Dinamo Tbilisi in the starting lineup. Indeed, in the squad of 21 that the Soviet Union have had preparing for this international. Preparing, incidentally, since Friday, with all the players excused duty from their league matches last weekend. Perhaps there's a moral there. Ken Sansom with the long throw. Terry Butcher's come forward to flick it on, and flick it on well, and Alenikov has to slice it behind for another England corner. Rinat Dasaev, a fixture these days in the Soviet Union goal. The goalkeeper, of course, in the 1982 World Cup finals, with Gary Lineker right in on the line. England looked to vary the play, and it was aimed for Hoddle, but Zavarov was watching him. Beardsley nudging it on for Viv Anderson, and as Mark Wright was homing in, Vesenov there in the nick of time for the Soviet Union.
Superb play that. We look far more composed at the moment than the Russians. Good ball by Anderson, could have gone anywhere. And Anderson and Sansom, as I say, can force the issue down the flanks.
Wilkins, though, with not enough loft in the corner. But it was a very encouraging touch from Peter Beardsley to play Viv Anderson through then. Sansom's throw. Besonov. Zavarov. Squeezed through by Gotsmanov, but well read by Butcher. It is a positive start from England. Beardsley doing well again, brought down by Gotsmanov after the ball had gone. It does look a side capable here that Bobby Robson has chosen of keeping the ball if they can win it often enough. There's no genuine ball winner in midfield if one can categorise players like that. But with Wilkins and Hoddle and Cowans, all the potential there to turn possession to good advantage. Lineker waiting in the middle again from the long throw, which Dasaev deals with rather tentatively. Butcher. And a curling shot from Hoddle that had him dancing away in anticipation. He knew it was close. And it all came from the original long throw, with the Soviet Union looking tentative in their defending against it.
They definitely look edgy, the Soviets, at the moment, and England have settled down awfully well. Bobby Robson will be very, very pleased with the first few minutes.
Anderson. Well, at least he had a rest last weekend when others were on club duty, because he was suspended and out of the Arsenal side. And Mark Wright, in fact, had a slight injury and missed Southampton's home game against Chelsea. Anderson. Zavarov. Cowan spreading the play, and Beardsley and Lineker working hard up front, and Lineker's read the back pass from Chibadze, and was he brought down by the goalkeeper? The referee says no. England feel they should have had a penalty there, and the Soviet Union were caught when Chibadze played the ball back without looking, and Gary Lineker full of running.
He got a clear first touch, and the goalkeeper definitely knocked him off his path. To me, that's a penalty, even though the ball may have been going away from the goal. Very unlucky, but the two runs that Beardsley and Lineker made then to split were absolutely superb. We've got three front players who can all play the game to feet, and their movement so far has been very good.
And here's Waddle, 13 minutes gone. England filling the middle, and they have another corner. And it was Gordon Cowan sliding in, and he's had a couple of attempts on goal, with England looking to get goals from midfield in the absence of Brian Robson. Butcher, out by Alenikov. This time the free kick goes against England, and against Glenn Hoddle in particular. So at the moment, the game being played very much in the Soviet Union's half. And England, certainly we feel, very unlucky not to have had a penalty. Wright's header.
I think Waddle has been given a fairly free role. He's popping up on the right-hand side now.
Certainly the longer-term plan very much in everyone's mind, but how good it would be here if England can come away unbeaten, keep their unbeaten run going, and look to carry it all the way to Mexico itself. France did a similar thing in the European Championships in 1984, and with their morale high, of course, they went on and won that particular tournament. A good opening 15 minutes for England, and it's the Soviet Union 0, England 0. Right across in front of Kondratiev. Rodionov, one of those who played at Wembley. That was back in June 1984, when the Soviets were very much the better team on the day. Wright's header only dropping as far as Demyanenko. Away by Cowans. Bubnov. Kuznetsov. A lovely turn by Demyanenko, the Soviet Player of the Year. And a penalty is given. Gotsmanov, the player who was brought down. And the Bulgarian referee straight away pointed to the spot. Anderson on Gotsmanov from Demyanenko's through pass.
One can't help feeling he was a bit theatrical about that, and he's got the benefit of the Bulgarian referee's decision. I can't understand Lineker not getting that one and then that one there. That's a shame. It's a tragedy for England. We started so well.
And he's missed it. Chivadze.
Maybe there's a moral in that somewhere.
A shake of the head from the home base player. And England survive. Alexander Chivadze beat Chilton, but it rocketed out off the post. Particular relief for Viv Anderson and for the morale of England generally. Alenikov. Pushed in the back by Cowans. Well, Chivadze, who's inspired Dinamo Tbilisi to European club wins over Liverpool and West Ham in past seasons, was a scorer in the World Cup against Scotland. Wasteful, though, of a great chance for the Soviet Union to turn the balance of the match this way by failing from the penalty spot. England were concerned in their preparatory talks about the width of the Soviet play, which was a factor in that 2-0 win at Wembley back in 1984. They do have pace, they do have tremendous teamwork from spending so much time together. They had 2 months in their close season through the heart of our winter when they were away in Spain and in Mexico. But they lost the 2 full internationals played in that period. Beardsley, a neat touch for Hoddle. Good running again by Lineker, and it came just behind Cowans. Zavarov. Zavarov again. And Demyanenko. This is where the problems might come for England. Gotsmanov. Demyanenko again. And it's another free kick conceded by Anderson. Right on the corner of the area, but this time just outside.
The fella Demyanenko, such a powerful player. I think he's Soviet's answer to Peter Briegel. Massive power down the left, and he could cause problems to Hoddle and Anderson if we allow the ball to get out to that side too easily.
He takes the free kick and picks out Gotsmanov. Tremendous running, but England didn't pick up. And a corner to the Soviet Union. Gotsmanov was just loitering there and then darted away. And Wilkins colliding with Beardsley, but England survive. Zavarov. And England pushing up. The pass was a poor one in any case, but any Soviet player running forward would have gone offside.
The Soviets have just raised the tempo of the game a little bit in the last few minutes, possibly spurred on by the move that led to that penalty decision. But Malofiev, the manager, has been saying that what he wanted in a training session the other day was a little bit of a quicker tempo when they break into the middle third of the field.
Flicked on by Waddle. Here's Chivadze, who is the free player at the back and can use that freedom to come forward and join in further forward. Beslanov. Zavarov. On from Alenikov. Kondratiev closely watched by Butcher, then Rodionov. But Shilton off his line quickly. So Bobby Robson has seen his side perform well going forward, but start to look a little vulnerable, particularly when England are defending on their right. Back from Bubnov.
I think they'll be very wary with their back passes, knowing now the pace of Lineker. He really has got superb acceleration, and considering that he's been playing with a little bit of a pelvic problem recently, it's quite remarkable that the pace that Lineker has.
Gary Lineker, I'm sure, would like to really stamp his award of PFA Player of the Year with a goal in this setting here. Being hypercritical, I suppose, all his international goals so far have come against slightly weaker opposition. Peter Beardsley, of course, still looking for his first goal for England. Lineker with a hat-trick against Turkey and a couple against the United States. And his first goal came against the Republic of